Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Just take a moment for everybody to arrive, to drop in. I'm happy to see some European faces, knowing that our time mentioning in the newsletter was a little bit off, not taking into account the daylight saving that happened in the US and not yet in Europe. But happy to see that the message somehow did get across to some. Okay, welcome once again. Good to see you. So let's take a moment to arrive together before I will introduce our call today. Just make yourself comfortable in any way that feels right to you, with your eyes open or eyes closed. Just being aware of your body sitting here. Being aware of your in-breath and out-breath. Just take a moment to anything that you were occupied with before you arrived here, to just allow that to fade away. With bringing your presence to your body and to your breathing, you're arriving here in this present moment. Just for a moment, checking in. How how are you in this moment? What's present for you? What are you bringing to this circle? Just acknowledging whatever you are noticing, whatever is present, without any need to change or comment. Just acknowledging, being aware of what's here. And in that way, you are welcoming yourself into this circle with kind, a kind presence, a welcoming presence. And then when you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes and just give everybody you see in that same way that you've given yourself a warm, kind welcome. Just extend that welcome to all the little squares that you see on the screen. And just to remind you that there are really very real human beings there at the other side. Just like you sitting there, sitting and breathing, with their own feelings, their own thoughts, their own whatever is being carried in this space. We all bring something unique. And I see several names without video. If you are able to switch your video on, I would very much welcome that, so we can really feel that we're in presence, in physical presence with each other. If you cannot for any reason, that's fine, but the invitation is here. And then to open our space more formally, let's enjoy 3 sounds of the bell. If you're willing, Cynthia, to invite 3 sounds of the bell for us. Thank you. Okay, we have arrived. We are home in the present moment, in this circle with our community, the community that has gathered today. So we have a little bit of an unusual call today. We don't necessarily have a specific steward present with us. We're not focusing on a specific earth treasure vase today. But instead of that, we have our core learnership, as we call it, our core learnership team here together, Cynthia, Nicole, Rasul, and myself, just to share a bit of where we are, what we've been up to recently. Recently, we've got together in Santa Fe last weekend to work together, to explore together, to tend deeply to our collaboration and to tend deeply to the community and to our work with the Earth Treasure Vases and everything that's connected to that. And we'd love on this full moon to just share back to you, especially as well in a response to the visioning sessions that we've had in January, where we've opened up a dialogue and invited your voices in. This is a moment for us to share some back of not necessarily what we've done with your feedback, because we're in the process of implementing, but to give voice of where we are now, 2 months later, and how we're continuing. So I've been invited to speak to a part that's very precious to me and that I'm still digesting. And it has all to do with where it started 35 years ago. 35 years ago, Cynthia had the great opportunity to meet an old lama, an old Tibetan monk, a hermit, in a cave in the Solu Khumbu region in eastern Nepal, which is in the Mount Everest region. And Cynthia spent about 2 weeks in the close proximity of this lama, and realized that she had the opportunity to ask him a question. And she wanted that question to not only benefit her, but to benefit life, to benefit beings, to benefit as much as we can imagine. So pondering the question, at some point, the question arose, not from the thinking, but from the deep contemplation. And the question that Cynthia asked to this very old Lama was, what can I do, what can we do to bring healing and protection to the earth at these times? And Cynthia, living at that time already in Santa Fe, where she still lives and deeply concerned with the nuclear issues, as Los Alamos National Laboratory is right across where Cynthia lives, where the atomic bombs were created, and where still, up until today, elements, parts of destructive weapons are being created. So she brought that story forward to Charog Lama, which is the name of this old monk in the cave, together with other concerns that she carried at that time. So the old monk looked at Cynthia and gave two different answers. One answer was, when people come together to meditate, or even one person with a sincere practice, will truly benefit the direct environment that he or she lives in. But then he looked intently at Cynthia. What you need to do, you need to receive those little clay pots, those earth treasure vases, and need to bring them and bury them in the places, in the communities where healing and protection is most needed. So with that assignment, she went to a monastery in walking distance with a request to have those vases made. And those vases were made at that time, and at some point Cynthia received them in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and started slowly to carry it out step by step. And over time, people have gathered, people have supported Cynthia and started as well to carry their own treasure vases to the places that called them deeply. And I know many of you have been engaged in that way, and we keep expanding and we keep growing. So that was 35 years ago. Now, some of you may have read already that 35 years later, we had the opportunity to meet the old monk in the cave once again, but in a different emanation. So in the Tibetan system, in the Tibetan Buddhist system, they have this tulku system, the way they call it. There's a lot that we could say and could comment on that, where I will not go there, but just to say that in the Tibetan tradition, they really try to have a continuation of the wisdom streams of the meditation masters. So in this case of Charog Lama, he passed away, I think 1 or 2 years after Cynthia met him. And a couple of years later, a 3-year-old boy appeared in that same region, wanting to go back to the cave. He told his mother, I want to go back to the cave. And at some point, his mother had to walk with him to the cave that she thought the young Charog Lama was pointing to. And there, it was a sister of another revered Lama who recognized the proclamations of the child and started to take him in to take care of him. And slowly, it became clear that he was is the reincarnation of the old Lama in the cave, carrying the same name, Charog Lama. I call him the young Charog. I think he's about 32 or 33 at this point. And we had the great opportunity and privilege and blessing to meet with him last month in Santa Fe. He happened to be there. He was teaching there at a Buddhist center in Santa Fe for about a whole month. And Cynthia and I and Nicole as well got to spend some good, precious, extensive time with him. So let me just for a moment pause and see if there's anything else that I want to bring forward from that to ground us in more deeply. So I've just literally 48 hours ago, I landed back in Europe. So this is all super, super, super fresh. And I'd like to bring you in a little. There are two things that I'd like to name before I invite in Cynthia to share some too. One thing that I'd like to name is the Treasure Vase for Tibet that I've worked with for 2.5 years and buried early August in eastern Tibet in a region called Kham. And that Treasure Vase carried very deep prayers for an honoring and a healing of the lineage. And with lineage, I mean the lineage where the Treasure Vases are coming from, which is a Tibetan Buddhist lineage. And with that, I mean as well the root system of our community, the root system of our work here together, and to contribute to transformation in that way, to be in full alignment and full coherence and integrity with our times. And I know Nicole and Rasul and perhaps Cynthia are going to speak some to that, but the Treasure Vase carry those intentions very deeply. After I buried the vase, I traveled to Kathmandu, Nepal, where through a whole series of causes and conditions, let's say prayers manifesting from the vase is the way that I perceive it, I got in touch with this young Charok Lama, the reincarnation of the old master. And the story that he carries, and at some point we'll have the opportunity to hear more about that, not necessarily today, but just briefly, that the story that he carries of being this reincarnate Lama with a lot of position and privilege in the monastic system, and having received about 25 years of deep Buddhist philosophical education while he's only in his early 30s. He carries all of that wisdom, and based on his own experience, he decided to give up his robes, to give up his monastic life, so that he would be able to share the wisdom streams that he carries and the way that he experiences and perceives the Dharma, the Buddhist teachings, and how he sees that it needs to be shared in those times without hierarchy, without the patriarchal kind of distance that can happen between a guru and a disciple. He decided to step out of it and literally to become a lay person and a lay friend, a worldly friend to those on the path, while carrying that very deep wisdom. There's so much more there, but in certain ways he embodies the prayers that went into the vase. And he's at the root of the work that we're doing here. He bestowed the Treasure Vases, instructed Cynthia to work with those Treasure Vases all those years ago. So there's a lot there. And the other segue I want to make before Cynthia enters in, maybe Cynthia would like to speak more to that. We brought him to Los Alamos Cave, the Cave of the Winds, where the first Treasure Vase was buried about 30 years ago, together with Tibetan Buddhist monks at that time. And we sat there together, had ceremony, and made offerings to the place where the first Treasure Vase was buried. So we're deeply in and with the roots, deeply in and with the roots in these times. And I'm very happy to take you with us to touch those roots, and I hope you feel it, you sense it while we're speaking and while we're meditating very soon as well. That's my share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick. For those of you who don't know Rick, Rick is from the Netherlands and living very close to Plum Village, practicing deeply in the Plum Village tradition as well as in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and has been a big part of our core team for the last 3 years. And Rick, your description just touches me so deeply. I'm really grateful to hear that kind of overview that you just shared with us. It was really beautiful, and it makes me want to cry all over again. I spent the days that Charak was with us more or less crying almost the whole time. I've been so moved, and I think Rick and I looked at each other at one point and said, we weren't really preparing ourselves that much to meet the reincarnation of the old wise man in the cave, as I call him. We were just kind of putting one foot in front of the other and going, oh, this is so amazing, that he's here. And he's here. He came to Santa Fe. And then we get to meet him and we get to spend days with him and hear him give teachings. And yet when we actually met him, it was like such a healing and such a beautiful, beautiful experience of recognition and joy and the deepest meaning, the deepest of meanings. And here is this young guy. He kept patting me on the back and twinkling his eyes and giggling at both of us and going, "To be continued." Which was so funny because that's an expression I say all the time, those of you who know me. And so, we asked him directly, how do you feel about people relating to you as the reincarnation of this old wise man, this old, very revered Lama, which is very common in the Tibetan tradition, and he said, well, it's okay. Some of you have had the experience of meeting my predecessor, but for me, it's like that was then and this is now. And I'm just here, I'm a message away. You can WhatsApp me anytime. I'd like to be considered a spiritual friend. Just a friend, And so the whole container of the guru system is something that he is not upholding in the normal way, according to the tradition, which I find personally to be such a relief, so wise, so helpful, because in these times, of course, we have to recognize our own selves as the guru, our own wisdom nature, our own capacity to turn our prayers into action and not look outside of ourselves for somebody to do it for us. And he made a very conscious, very, very conscious decision to let go of his robes so as not to be kind of trapped inside of that system and be able to operate independently. And he operates in many ways as a therapist. One-on-one sessions he loves to do. He loves to give teachings, which he did while he was here. But he's very interested, not so much in all the ritual and the ceremonies, but more in the very direct, simple, basic Buddhist teachings that inform us how to be a good person, how to take care of others, how to stay in our deep center. So it's just really, honestly, one of those miracles that doesn't come around every day. And I think Rick and I were, because we spent the most time with him, we were more or less walking around with our mouths hanging open, like just in such awe and such gratitude and so much joy. He brought so much joy to us. And just the full circle of having, received these instructions, this assignment from his predecessor all those many years ago, having carried it out with passion all over the planet, having then had so many of you come into this global healing mandala to pick up the practice, to take it where you are called to taking it, and now close to 100 treasure vases planted in the earth. And now, as we turn into a new chapter of the organization, um, and of my service to all of this, here is this young reincarnation who is just so free, so open, so kind, considerate, compassionate, and also curious, engaged, inspired, I think, by what we've done and by where we've taken it. And so we're just excited. We're so moved by the connection and looking very much forward to sharing him with you and inviting him to give some teachings, to potentially, pilgrimage with us here and there. So yeah, it's a new chapter. It's not it actually. We were saying it's not just a new chapter like in my book. It's a whole new book. so so just such amazing times, and to have this experience and this connection happen while we're all struggling so much to come to terms with the challenges of these times. My phone is ringing. Please ignore that sound. I know for myself, and I'm sure for all of you, I'm struggling with how to come to terms with what's happening in the world. And that too makes me cry a lot of the time because it's just so hard to accept. So this joyous young man was a real gift to me. I've, as you know, many of you know, I've struggled deeply with the whole system of Tibetan Buddhism too, because it has felt as if there's just way too much power over dynamics. The structures of how the teachings are given, how they're passed on, are very patriarchal. These aren't working anymore. There's abuses, there's corruption, and that's another thing that this young Charak Lama, he recognizes all of that, and that was part of his decision as well. So so we're in this time of deep, 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 deep change and transformation and collective awakening. And that is in so many ways what we do here on these full moon calls, and is to awaken that part of ourselves that is called and summoned to respond to the earth and to building community in these times. So briefly, just one other dimension to what I wanted to share with all of you. Thank you so much to those of you who came to our visioning sessions that we held the end of January. As we've mentioned, the organization, which is called Alliance for the Earth, that is the container, the vessel for the Gaia Mandala and the Earth Treasure Vase practice and all that we do here, all the other practices and pilgrimages and connections. This organization is going through a restructuring process which will allow me to not hold quite so much responsibility. And as I kind of move into a different phase of my life, having completed so much of what brings us here today, we've been in this process with each other. That would be Rick and Nicole Rosaria, who's here, and Rasul Bravo. Rasul is in Colombia. Rick is in France. Nicole is in Ohio. And we came together over some months now with our dear friend and sister, Ginny McGinn, who has been assisting us in making a transition organizationally from my being the person who sort of holds the power, so to speak, holds the vision and the responsibility for the organization, to passing it over to a collective leadership, learnership group process that is now taking root. And Rick mentioned a lot about the roots of this tradition and how our connection with Charak has just kind of really watered those roots. And I really see that the treasure vases themselves, planted all over the world, are putting their roots down, and that the community that we represent here is also rooting in the ways that are needed now in these times. That for us to be sustainable, for us to meet this moment and continue beyond me, together as a collective, those roots are digging in and we're watering them in new ways. So please give us your support. One of the needs that we're going to be bringing forward is the need for the support that you might offer. We've given everything pretty much freely, and we want to continue to be able to do that. But we also need to call on you for support for everything that we do so that we can sustain our work and our practices, which I hope are as meaningful to all of you as they are to me, and as helpful as I think they are. I feel they are to Mother Earth. So that's the overview for now, and I welcome any further reflections when the time arises. And turn it back to you, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. I'd like to invite you and Nicole to bring us in further into the organizational process and whatever around that you'd like to share.
Hello, everyone. It's really good to see you. There are many of you that I know and have journeyed with very deeply here. And some of you I've never met before. So I'm really greeting you from my heart here in Ohio. And I want to also name that I won't be able to stay the whole call. I have a family commitment that I'll be checking off to attend in the middle of the call. So I'm really just happy to be here now and to share with you, with my team. Each one of us has a different way to speaking to what's going on, and so I'll use my language to to call it how I see it here from this spot and this vessel. So I wanted to just name the honesty and authenticity of this growth process. There's so much mystery about what it means to be a vessel that is really interwoven with the fabric of life. I mean, we're just remembering what that actually means, and like trying to really understand how this whole technology of interbeing actually works. And what I want to say is, like, there are patterns of growth that we are in. And since probably a year, there's been a shaking and a breaking and a shattering and a moving of old containers that mimics what we're seeing. So it's happening within, it's happening relationally. And in our journey together in relationship, we've been really in the contractions and learning how to be the alchemy that's needed, because there's no avoiding the shattering. Like, and this is what I want to say that was coming through this morning is like, it's the vibrant life force within and below that is pushing through that shatters containers. So like there's a life force inside that seed that longs to grow, and it breaks the shell to root and to expand up to the sun. And it's that vibrant skin of that snake that is like, I am ready to emerge, and feel that wind on my skin that causes it to create the heat and the friction to get that old shedding off. And it's that compulsion to grow wings that this caterpillar decides to turn to goo. So we have been goo, we have been shattered, we have been in the friction, we've been doing all the things because I believe there's this vibrant, emergent, new patterning and new forms that are really pushing through. And so we feel it in our bodies, we feel it in how we're in relationship with what was and what wants to be. And I just see it as all really natural, beautiful, messy, gross, gorgeous, like natural patterns of growth and evolution. And so really feeling that phrase by Joanna Macy, that's like, how do we honor the evolutionary impulse that flows through each one of us? And I feel like as a hub in the organization, we've been tending to that. We've been listening. We've been trying to attune, like, what is this evolutionary impulse and how do we move with it? And not staying stuck and not moving too far ahead, but just like keeping pace with the contractions, the frictions, and like bringing our practice to it. And so what I want to say is like, it's such an honor to be in practice with this hub. And what I know about that is it's also in practice with every one of you, even though I am not directly facilitating some of these practice groups. It is our collective practice that is holding and informing and uplifting and like giving us the resiliency to be in that heat and like transformation happening, evolution happening. And it's this beautiful titrating dance between honoring these roots and what are the continuance of these threads that continue, and holding it in deep honor. And how do we hold that with deep integrity? Like Cynthia and Rick said, like these roots that need to deepen, because as Cynthia's book has gone out and there's more expansion happening in our community, and we're calling in more expansion, more young folks, more faces that really represent our global community, and from more lands, from more traditions. We're calling that in. And so the roots necessarily have to get deeper, and we need to be assured that they're in deep integrity. And it's happening. And so it's reflective to me, again, of a really healthy growth process of emergence while allowing some shattering and some shedding. And it just, we had an incredible time in Santa Fe. We met fears and resistance, and we walked each other through it. If anything, I feel like right now we're learning how to midwife ourselves and one another, our families and our communities, with the power of our hearts through this evolutionary impulse that I like to frame it as, it's because something really vibrant is pushing through that these things need to shatter. So and that is not diminishing the suffering that is embedded in a part of that. And so that's a part of the midwifing, is recovering even our grief technologies. So I just want to say I'm honored to be here. We're going to be doing our best to help this transition systemically with the organization, and in forms with new programming, new membership, financial models and new operational systems, new bylaws. We're really integrating the seeds that this next generation of leadership carries into the fabric of what how the organization operates. So it's really, really deep change from within. So yeah, I'm grateful to be here. Just wanted to share, beam my heart out to you about how I feel about our process and how much I love my team and how grateful I am for your practice and for our collective practice, because it's potent and it's deep. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Hi, everyone. My name is Rasul, and as Cynthia shared a moment ago, I'm here with you from Colombia, and it's a harvest of sorts. It's an anchoring of a harvest time for us to share with you where we are in this moment. And so I just would like to add a few more bits before we move into our meditation. For those of you who are here for the first time, we'll hold our meditation after this contextual space. And during the meditation, we will be connecting with the mandala of the vases and welcoming presence both in the direction of the mandala and of this time of transition for us. And then at the end, we will direct prayers and blessings towards Cynthia, who will be holding the mother vessel, which is one of the vessels from the first generation vases that she received. So just for those of you here for the first time, just offering a little bit of the lay of the land as we move forward. I would like to name Jenny McGinn, who has been a vital asset for this time for us as an organization in transition, in transformation. Jenny McGinn is one of the members of the Center for Whole Communities. She is a mother artist and nonprofit leader. She supports the work of social and organizational change in moving towards greater wholeness. And so she has helped us in this process of the way that I've been describing it and the way that has felt resonant amongst our group here at the Hub is this recognition of islands of coherence, from a quote from Russian chemist Ilya Prigozhin. He says, when a complex system is far from equilibrium, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to shift the entire system to a higher order. And so what Ginny has been essential for has been in the establishing of this greater coherence amongst us, welcoming that through a recognition of each of our vessel selves. The movement that we've been going through has been catalyzed and potentiated, we could say, as the evolution of consciousness and awakening during this time on planet Earth, in, as has already been named, in the recognition of that vessel self. And so in this case with Ginny, we've been recognizing how our history, our lived experience, the threads of ancestry and territorial tapestry make us who we are, and in a way, the way that we see each other and the assumptions through which we work on a general basis. And so this has been kind of like the work in action that we have found ourselves in at this time, and it has been made, facilitated, and I'd say possible especially through Jenny McGinn. And so she's not here right now, but I just like to just all praises to what she has developed in her life, also being part of Pioneers for some time, and yeah, just putting in work in this time of social transition, and also gratitude for the friendship. I know long friendship that she and Cynthia have had in their own growth and evolution that has made it possible for her to come and support us through this transition. And so without further ado, I would like to welcome us to move into our guided meditation and welcome you to turn your screens off if you so wish. It's usually the way we do it. And then we will move into the meditation that will be co-led by Rick Jansen and myself.
Okay, just settling here. Allowing the context and all the words to just find their own way while we're anchoring and focusing just in our direct experience in this moment. And while we listen to the three sounds of the bell, let's really imagine that those sounds of the bell reverberate through our own living spaces, through our own watery beings that we are, and reverberating beyond and beyond, touching all those places in the cosmos where healing is needed, where protection is needed, where regeneration is needed. And just imagine that those sounds of the bell are able to touch all those beings in need, human and other than human beings. Liberating beings from their suffering and confusion. Let's begin by taking a couple of deep breaths, breathing in and out, deep and slow. Feeling your body, your senses relaxing. Sensing the earth, the ground beneath you, holding you, offering stability. And just imagine your roots moving deep down into the earth. Breathing in and breathing out. Receiving the nourishing energies through your taproot. Receiving the life force of Mother Earth. And just really sensing that we are coming in attunement with the earth, with Gaia, with her rhythms, with her pulse. Just allowing yourself to enter a deep communion with a stabilizing, grounding, refreshing energies of Gaia. From this place of being deeply rooted and grounded, we open up to the light from above, feeling the warmth from the sun and the moon, the full moon, and the stars. Feeling expansive as we connect with those vast energies of the cosmos, as well connecting to the energies of the eclipse that happened earlier today. Rooting below, connecting above in this precious present moment, breathing the breath of interbeing, of interconnectedness.
And now we welcome you to feel your connectedness to the place where you sit upon the planet right now, to the special place to which you belong to, composed of soils, stones, waterways, the forests, flowers, lichen, moss, the communities of life who call these habitats their home, just like you. Those, both human and more than, who also receive stability and nourishment from Mother Earth, from the warmth of the sun and the light of the moon, just like you. And in this special place, rooted in this precious moment, we acknowledge those who have come before, the ancestors of the original indigenous peoples of the lands we inhabit, who have been in sacred relationship with these lands for countless generations. We acknowledge the future ancestors of this land who will continue to hold this land as sacred for countless generations to come. We acknowledge and give thanks to the wisdom of our ancestors, the indigenous soul within each of us. And we humbly invite this wisdom, the blessing of all of these beloveds, to bless us today in our practice. Let us also call upon all our sources of inspiration, elders, guides, and teachers, lineage masters, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, wisdom beings that we feel connected to, and invite them all to be present with us now. Inviting their blessings to enter you and everyone who is present for this meditation, and receive their blessing of their love, their support, guidance, healing, and clarity. As this blessing enters you, feel this love and caring coming all the way into your deepest heart of hearts. Breathing it in And then breathing out, send this love to everyone who is present in this circle. Breathing in, receiving the love that is being sent. Breathing out, sending, like the ebb and flow of the waves of the ocean. Washing blessings amongst us in this circle. Gradually expanding your focus to include all of your dear ones, your friends, family, and community, all of those who this practice may serve. Imagine our circle gradually growing from our home, neighborhood, bioregion, country, continent, to include all beings in all places everywhere, embracing the whole planet with our love, breathing in and breathing out with Gaia.
While we are breathing in and breathing out with Gaia, we once again feel the rootedness below and the expansion above us. Waves of love flowing from your heart. We invite you to turn your attention, your awareness to those who are suffering, the places where there is war, poverty, disease, pollution, droughts or floods or fires. Wherever the need for healing is big, is great. And we invite you to breathe in the suffering, to transform the suffering. And on the out breath, we can send our love and our caring to relieve the suffering of the earth, her people, and all life, all around the whole planet. So breathing in the suffering and breathing out, sending our love and care. And by doing so, the suffering transforms in our hearts. And while continuing to breathe in this way, we can imagine that where there is hunger, great nourishing gardens begin to grow. Where there's thirst, fresh, clean waterways spring up. Where there are unhoused, safe shelters are built. Where there is war and conflict, choirs of peace echo in the hills. Where there is sickness, vital health is celebrated. And aware of where the earth is unstable, in danger, or out of balance in any way, we can imagine a restoration of balanced power, bringing protection and regeneration. As we imagine hearing the land sing out in harmony. We imagine the generosity and reciprocity in communities of life flowing freely, seeing the beauty and riches of nature flowering into abundance for the sustenance of life, revitalizing this radiant, incredible, miraculous blue-green planet that we have the huge privilege to call home. And as we hold this glowing vision of our home, Mother Earth, we call into our awareness the presence of the earth treasure vases that have been planted or are in the process of being planted all around the planet. Let's imagine that together we're pouring our love and caring in the form of light into each and every little clay pot buried in the body of Mother Earth. And in that way, we fill each vase, each vessel with our deepest prayers and our most heartfelt blessings for healing and regeneration. Imagine each earth treasure vase radiating light in every direction, sending healing and protective energies wherever it is needed and in whatever form it is needed. See the light like a rainbow streaming forth from each of the vases, white, yellow, red, blue, green, and all the colors in between. And while we breathe in, we breathe out. Just naturally notice that the feeling of caring and compassion in your deepest heart of hearts is growing, expanding. And just imagine sending out that love that's expanding within your being. Send that out in the form of light to all the people, to all the animals, to all the plants and places that are connected to the Earth Treasure Vases, contributing to the healing, the protection, and the regeneration needed in the past, present, and future.
Beginning at the center of the Earth Treasure Vase Global Healing Mandala, in a cave above Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, the birthplace of the atomic bomb, and to the north at the source of the Rio Grande River in Creede, Colorado, to the south at the mouth of the Rio Grande at the Gulf of Mexico, to the east on top of Mount Baldy above Santa Fe, and to the west on Mount Chacoma, known as Tikamu, to the Tewa people of New Mexico, the custodians of the sacred lands where this mandala began. So now, having established the center and the four directions, see the mandala growing in every direction. To the Indian Point Nuclear Reservation on the Hudson River in New York, to the headwaters old-growth redwood forest in Northern California, the Punta Cometa on the coast of Oaxaca, Mexico, Vilcabamba, Ecuador, Jacoba, Kosovo, the Lawrence Laboratory at the University of California, Berkeley, the Dao Dam Forest on the border of Thailand and Burma, the village of Ain Karam in Israel, Palestine, Hiroshima, Japan, Inwood Park above New York City after 9/11, the Biosphere 2 in Oracle, Arizona, the Martin Luther King Freedom Center in Oakland, California, the source of the Ganges in India, the source of the Amazon in Peru, the southern Pacific Ocean 93 degrees down in Ihum Atoll, the Trobriand Islands, Papua New Guinea, the Arctic Circle, Alaska, the Kogi lands of the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta, Colombia, Teloayan Village, Lofa County, Voinjama District, Liberia, West Africa. The Blyda River Canyon, Limpopo Province, South Africa. The Giza Plateau, Egypt. Haleakala, Maui, Hawaii. The Itomwe Forest, South Kivu Province, Democratic Republic of Congo. Avery, England. Binduluk, Jawan Country, Catherine, Northern Territory, Australia.
To Gabernman, Arnhem Land, Australia. The Mackenzie King Park, Ottawa River Valley, Ottawa, Gatineau, Canada. The original garden in Findhorn, Scotland. The Great Stupa of Bodhanath in Kathmandu, Nepal. The Flint Hills of Kansas in the heartland of America. The Santa Cruz Mountains near Silicon Valley, California. The Valles Caldera of northern New Mexico. Punululu, Bongos, the Kimberleys, Australia. The village of Uchavik at the edge of the sea in northernmost Arctic Alaska. The Hanford Nuclear Reservation on the shores of the Columbia River in the state of Washington. Mount Ryosen above Fukushima, Japan. Back to where it all began, at the cave hermitage of Charok, Nepal. To Margibi County, Liberia. In the base of an old ironbark tree on Ditchell Mountain in the Budawang wilderness of Walbunya Country, Juan Nation, southeastern Australia. To our root temple, Tolu Tarling Monastery in Nepal. The Munzur Valley in Turkey. Serpent Mound in Ohio. The Ashaninka spiritual portal, Campa do Rio Amonea indigenous land, acre, Brazilian Amazon, bordering Peru. The Border Peace School, Cherwon, the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. In Nabusimake, Arwaka territory in Colombia. In Akaroa, Te Waiponamu, South Island, Aotearoa, New Zealand. On Mount Parnassus above Delphi in Greece. Pian Grande di Castelluccio of the Sibillini Mountains in Umbria, Italy. In Weah Witchen, facing the Windcates Park, North Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. In a sylvan wood near a creek that flows into the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. In eastern Tibet, next to a high-altitude turquoise lake. The Fontem Felicem, or Happy Well, flowing by a creek adjacent to a chapel in the village of Heltzem, Islek, Luxembourg. And in the woods embracing Auschwitz-Birkenau in Poland. And the Vase in Antarctica, the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, Scotland. The Saugatuck Dunes on Lake Michigan in the USA. To the Highwood Valley and the Rocky Mountains in Alberta, Canada. Southeastern US Turtle Island, Shakonage, Tennessee. A vase called Corona Ma planted on the shores of Lake Washington in Kirkland, Washington, near the Life Care Center where COVID began in the USA. In the Permian Basin, New Mexico. The vase called Keteshia in Cape Cod, Massachusetts, honoring the wisdom and persistence of our whale relatives. Along Sweetwater Creek at the base of Marble Mountain in Denbigh, Vermont, and a vase for the return of the salmon in northern Washington state.
Let us also include in our awareness the vases being stewarded now to the Bering Strait, to southwestern Australia, to Chile, to the Altai Mountains in Russia, to healing racism in the United States and in the worldwide, to Afghanistan, to South India, to Palestine, to Spain, to northern New Mexico, including Taos, to the Little Shell Tribal Territory, Montana, to Triple Divide Peak on Turtle Island, to the Big Sur region in California, a vase dedicated to Kairos time, to the Paramo ecosystem of Colombia for the restoration of the waters of the world, and to a vase dedicated to the Andes in Peru. We also honor a vase that was planted earlier this year that I realize has already been named for the return of the salmon in northern Washington state. And we presence the two vases awaiting their dedication, who rest on the altar along with the mother vase in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Once again, we welcome you to take a deep, slow in-breath and a deep, slow out-breath. And imagine that all that is needed to relieve the suffering of the earth, to relieve the suffering in the human condition, can be seen as light radiating out from each of the earth treasure vases all around the planet in every direction. Seeing this healing light flowing out from the vases, filling the whole global earth treasure vase mandala with the powerful energies of our love and caring. See this healing force traveling through the songlines and meridians of the earth, flowing into each location on the global mandala. See the mandala like a web of light embracing the whole planet. Feel the light flowing back and forth like waves from your heart to the earth treasure vases, adding vitality and brilliance to the light that is then flowing out to the whole area in the sphere of influence of each of the earth treasure vases. Now please focus your concentration one-pointedly on bringing healing and protection, peace, harmony, and justice to the whole earth for all time. See the healing and protection radiating out from all the vases around the earth in waves of light, flowing back and forth endlessly. Imagining this light flowing into your own location, your special spot in nature, and feel the collective spiritual intelligence of the entire global earth treasure vase mandala, activating your node on the global healing mandala and entering you as a holy vessel. And imagine that the healing is accomplished and the vitality of the earth is completely restored. And now, recognizing the great interconnected web that is life on Earth, of which we are each a part, let's give thanks for this precious, sacred time. And in our own way, decree that the compassion and peace that is our true condition may bring supreme happiness and benefit to the earth and to all beings. With another deep, slow in-breath and deep, slow out-breath, let us bring our awareness back to our body, feeling our feet on the floor, grounded on the earth in our own location, wiggling our toes, opening our eyes, and returning to the circle for sharing prayers and making offerings. Thank you everyone for being here up until this moment. Thank you to all of you who will be in this moment through the recording. And so now we open our circle for sharing. While Cynthia holds the mother vase. Yes, Liza. Oh, you're muted. Do you want to try to unmute and leave the mic unmuted once you're able to so we can call you in? It's not working. Maybe leave and return to the call? Okay.
But still, while Liza is trying to figure out, I just wonder if we can offer some prompts or some more guided invitation for what people could share in terms of prayers or reflections or...
Sure. Are you offering that up?
But let's do it together. What's arising for me, you know, since this is a general call that's not focused on one specific vase, but we have the mother vase present here, which is one of the first vases that Cynthia received. Are just prayers for what's present in your heart in this moment, for, you know, the well-being of your loved ones, the well-being of your communities, the well-being of communities beyond your own community, well-being of life, the planet, just whatever feels very true to you in this moment to speak to pray for, to offer in this space. Yeah, just listen deeply what's here, and know that everything is welcome in those terms. Russell, now you are muted.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. And if you could please turn your video on when you go to speak, if you're able to do so, we would all appreciate it. And if you could let us know where you're calling in from, that would also be wonderful. Thank you. Laura Feldman, please come in.
Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. I'm in Portland, Oregon. My friends and I were the ones who planted the Earth Treasure Vase in Hanford at the Hanford Nuclear Reservation. And I'm so grateful to be here today because we are struggling here in Oregon to stay very centered in terms of addressing what is sort of a nuclear onslaught, both in Washington State and Oregon State. They're trying to push through what they call a nuclear renaissance with small modular nuclear reactors. Amazon wants to build one at Hanford, which is unbelievable. And in Oregon, they're trying to overturn a 45-year moratorium on no new nukes until there's a place to put the waste. So there's a lot of legislation going on, and we're struggling mightily to turn this around so that that door is not opened, because it's just an onslaught, not just here, but the nuclear energy network everywhere. It's considered, they're trying to call it a climate fix, but of course we know that isn't true. So I'm grateful to be here today and draw attention to this. I loved what Nicole said about the shattering of our vases, not our vases, but our containers, packages, whatever, because I feel like that's definitely going on now. And I feel like I'm holding on for dear life. So, as we all are in many ways. Anyway, thank you. And I put my clarity and my resilience into the vase that Cynthia is holding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura. Yes, Julianne.
Thank you. I am calling in from traditional Tongva land, also known as Los Angeles. And it's a cloudy, rainy day here. What I'd like to ask for our land here is the healing and blessings, asking the Mother Vase to send some, healing energy to, in particular, our beaches and ocean. It's my understanding that the debris from the fires, which, as you know, are very odd, burning all kinds of things other than just trees, is burning a lot of toxic substances in the homes. And that, I understand, was bulldozed to the beach and then turned into the sand. So our sand is toxic, our waters are toxic. And just asking for your prayers and healing and imagining some miracle. I know that with the fires that were in the forest, Eaton Canyon, which is, the wooded area, the fungi is starting to grow. And so we can see nature sending those particular microbial friends to repair the soil. But I don't really know what happens at the beach. So that's my prayer for our land here, and thank you.
Thank you. Karen and Steve.
I'm taking in these stories of disintegration that we each are observing right where we are. And I want to just add the one that is coming from Denver, which is where Steve and I are right now. A few days ago, our mayor was one of 4 mayors nationally who were called to Washington to testify and answer questions. I would say an inquisition as opposed to an interview of the mayors of the cities that had declared themselves as sanctuary cities. And so I ask for the prayers of all of you treasure vessels that we each are, on behalf of aligning the forces with the forces for protection for those who are marginalized, and for all of us to be able to embrace what you all, Cynthia and Rasul and Rick and Nicole, what you all embodied that you shared earlier today, of knowing that we are in it and trusting in the forces of emergence and trusting in what shows up in the moment without being locked into a specific outcome, but just trusting in this emergence. I think we are all being asked to do that, and I just thank you all for modeling that earlier today, going forward with the mandala. So thank you, gratitude, and may we all be empowered by that modeling.
Thank you, Karen. Yes, Liza Jane.
Thank you, Rasul. I would like to offer into the Mother Vase this little bundle of cotton thread that has come from a process of unraveling that I am in the midst of, that I'm also in the process of reweaving, acknowledging so many unravelings at this time, and the potential for the creative life force to create something beautiful. And I also would like to offer the light of this candle that's for a very specific baby, and also for all future babies, and for the rebirth, for the potential that this unraveling holds. I just send all the love in the world to all of you. I bow.
Thank you, Liza. Yes, Diana, welcome.
Hello, everyone. It's my first time here. I am Diana from Romania. It's in the eastern part of Europe, next to Ukraine, at the border. A small country. And I recently found out about Cynthia's work, and I'm so grateful for being here with all of you. I'm chicken skin since the beginning because I feel the immense value of us gathering here and praying and sending love to earth, and listening the last part of the meditation. I started singing a little song, and I want to sing and give that to Mother Earth because it came with so much love and hope, which I have through all the pain that we all feel. It exists in the world also. So the little song sounds like this. Pachamama, Madre del Tierra, Madre del Todo, perdóname y a tus hijos que te hagan daño, y a tus hijos que te hagan daño. Thank you. It's in Spanish, and it's like a small prayer for forgiveness. It's very good to be here, and I'll be back for sure.
Thank you, Diana. Welcome to our community. It's good to be here with you. Yes, Kat.
First, I'd like to really express my incredible gratitude for this island of coherence that we are and that we co-create together. And I'd like to put into the Mother Vase today the sound of the singing bowl that each of our body minds, when struck, would ring as a cohesive vibration of love and compassion, that we would, through our presences, be a vibration that would entrain to others, and that we would entrain to that vibration of love and compassion together in any way that it comes to us. Welcome it into our hearts and into our body minds. Creating the field of love and joy, and allowing that new, beautiful birth to come forth for all of us, the entire Gaia model, the entire Gaia field.
Thank you, Kat.
Russell, I can't tell if someone else's hand is up or not. May I go or Louise?
Sure, Louise, and then we'll hear from Laura Lynn.
Oh,
Welcome.
go ahead, Laura Lynn. I can't see because I'm on this little phone.
No, that's all right. That's all right. You both raised your hand nearly simultaneously, so please come on in.
It's so good to be with you, and I just wanted to shout out the beautiful process that's been going on with the learnership team and the organization over months. It's really inspiring to me. As we did the meditation today, I kept thinking about rings radiating from different treasure bases and communities of practice. And so, what I'd like to offer to the Mother Base is another dedication of the merit of the practices that we do in the Sublime Mother Gaia practice, the Monday Meditation Sangha, the Wise USA group, which has formed a kind of virtual and physical ring at the Washington, D.C. Treasure Base. I am here in the Piscataway lands at Washington, D.C. And I just saw how all those rings are moving and vibrating and just we are woven in together by the vases themselves. And it's so powerful and magical. It's beautiful. In the Earth Treasure, in the Wise USA group on Wednesday, Liza Jane, this is putting you on the spot. You may say yes, no, or decline, but we sang a song at the end that just keeps coming to me today over and over. And I don't know, Liza Jane, if you'd be willing to sing it into this space. It seems to me to go with Diana's song from Romania.
Thank you, Louise. And the magic of technology has allowed me to share my voice with ease. So I'll have to go at it.
Okay, thank you. And blessings to everybody.
I'm sorry I can't tell you who to give. I can't give credit for who crafted this song, but I'm gonna find out because it keeps coming up. So I invite you to remain muted and sing along if you'd like. It goes, 7 generations backward, 7 generations forward, 7 generations backward, 7 generations forward, healing ourselves, healing our ancestors, healing ourselves, healing our future. 7 generations backward, 7 generations forward, 7 generations backward, 7 generations forward, healing ourselves, healing our ancestors, healing ourselves, healing our future. Alalaho.
Oh, Miigwech, for everyone's beautiful songs, hearts, breath that we share together. I am in extreme gratitude for the beautiful physical, emotional, mental healing that I received from being with you today. And I have a special prayer for my daughter as a representative for all the young people. She's 17, almost 18. They're just now starting to talk in her school about current events, and as she's just dawning with her recognition to look outside of her more childlike world and teenage kind of concerns about music and fashion and all those things, she's opening up to what's happening right now. And so my prayer for her and all of the young people who are becoming conscious at this time, that they have, in addition to what they're seeing in front of them, much like Liza Jane was singing, they have ability through whatever means, teachers, elders, loved ones, parents, grandparents, books, art, natural places, to remember what it is that we are all so used to living in that is going away, so that they can pull those things forward. And I also just wanted to bring this Migacy, this eagle feather fan from Sundance, to just help blow away all of the smoke, ashes, toxicity, to bring soothing to you, every one of you, so that it's easier for you to go out and share this beautiful understanding with others of how we can gather together in these times. And see above, the eagle, Migazy, flies higher than any of the other birds. They mate in the air. They have a good vision. May we remember to have clear, big vision. And may all of the soothing wind that's generated here be for all of you in love. And I love you all. And we're grateful for all of the beautiful spirits from Tibet that brought us this practice. Ho, Natak Besi, Inui, Maganak. And I'm signing off now to go to my next appointment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laurelyn. So we've got a few minutes left. Yes, Claudia.
Hi, give me a second. I'm calling in from the mountains of Guatemala and grateful to be here again. I wanted to offer into the vase the blessings of this vase that is Mayan, and supposedly it was buried in some place in the highlands of Guatemala. So I want to connect it to the Tibetan and traditions and put those blessings into the vase also. With the fire of the volcano, fuego, that made a big eruption last weekend, and we could see it from our rooftop. So I'm putting all those blessings into the vase. Grateful to be here.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks for being here. Yes, Gary. You're muted.
What a morning. I'm in Occidental California, which is redwood country in Northern California. This is just profound. I want to thank you all. I'm so grateful to be in this circle. I mean, it's so humbling and moving. And as the didgeridoo was playing, it was like this wave of sound was clearing out what wasn't important in my life, was clearing out my distractions, enabling me to find my voice. And so I put that into the vase, that more people are empowered to speak their truth and find their voice. And I'm about to go on an adventure to Montgomery, Alabama, which is the Memorial for Peace and Justice, also known as the Lynching Memorial. This is my first trip to the South. I will also be going to Memphis to the Civil Rights Memorial at the Lorraine Motel, where Martin Luther King was assassinated. So I'm doing this immersion into oppression. That this country was built on the backs of people of color and enslavement. And it's rearing its head again. It's in what's happening in our country. So I just offer into the vase. I offer into that vase, Cynthia. Thank you. Prayers of support and gratitude. And I extend and invite and appreciate the support I'm getting from Liza Jane and from my friend Elizabeth Christine on this journey. I mean, I'm taking a big bite of the apple, as I say. So, as all of you have. So, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, thank you for sharing with us of the journey that you are making. We're with you. We're with you in spirit and heart. And glad to know that Liza Jane, who stewarded a vase for the Northeast, is supporting you. For the Southeast, pardon. For the Northeast. For the Southeast. Yes, thank you. And so, as we bring our gathering here to a close today, we'd like to offer a dedication of merit, and I'd like to welcome Rick Jansen, please, to share the dedication.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Before I do that, I'd just like to read out the 2 offerings that have appeared in the chat here as well, just to honor that. It's from Daniela Sim, calling from Berlin. As a humanitarian worker, I see the effects of the cuts of aid, financing, and the disintegration of a whole system, leaving millions of people and ecosystems behind, promises not being fulfilled. So I offer my prayers for togetherness, solidarity, and that we might find the opportunities in this situation. I truly believe that people of different faith and beliefs will come together beyond borders and blocks, and like the Earth Treasure Vase mandala, we might be all united. Thank you, Daniela. And then here from Olivia Fermi, offering to the Mother Vase, may our island of loving, wise resonance support and encourage the many souls fighting the illegal actions of the current US administration. May all souls be held in loving and caring. Okay. Dedication of merit. Just before I do that, I remember that I wanted to say that today is the final day of the 15 Days of Miracles, which they call it the 15 Days of Miracles in, for sure, the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. I don't know if it's in other Buddhist traditions as well, but it's in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, the 15 Days of Miracles start when the Tibetans celebrate their Lunar New Year, Losar, which was 15 days ago. And it ends on the full moon of the 14th of March, which is today. And during those 15 days of miracles, including today, all merit and negativity, but we've been cultivating merit, is multiplied by millions of times. So let's dedicate in that spirit today. For as long as the earth remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may these earth treasure vases too remain, to dispel the miseries of the world. Through the merits of this practice, may all beings realize their inseparability with Gaia and all life upon her, living in peace and harmony. May there be no more war or conflict, and may all hearts be filled with compassion and understanding. May it be so. Alalao. Maybe let's bring that home with the sound of the bell, Cynthia, if you will.
Many, 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 many blessings, everyone. Thank you so much for a beautiful, beautiful call today and for your practice and your devotion and your willingness to show up time and again. So wonderful to welcome so many more of you to the call today. We are building something amazing here, and it is filled with miracles. Thank you for reminding us of that, Rick, and for your beautiful presence here, and to Rasul for helping to hold the space, and Nicole, who is here in spirit, and to all of you who are listening later. We send our love around the planet over and over and over again. And thank you all so, so very much for continuing, for continuing to carry this thread. Every breath, every step. May all of our prayers be realized for the benefit of all beings. Thank you again. Alalaho.